Welcome to another episode, and today we're going over how you can actually save and spend less for parts from the dealership versus aftermarket. Let's get started. So it is rather nasty out today. I can't really shoot any video, and I figured this is a great time just to go over what I came across completely by accident. And at the end, I'll explain how to save money. Just don't run to the parts department at the dealer. A lot of times there's a markup, and there's a way to get around that markup. So I'll give you 4 examples. The first, battery. And this is something I talked about in previous episodes. I needed a battery for this FJ Cruiser. And if you're someone like me that has been doing DIY for over 2 decades, typically you check the local parts stores, Advance Auto Parts, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, whatever your favorite is. You check maybe Costco, maybe you check Walmart, even Amazon. You check all of these sites, and you try to find a battery that's a good price, but also for me, I want a good warranty. And I was doing that for this truck. You know, let me see what Die Hard has, what Duralast. Now those batteries tend, for me, whatever the reason, 4 years max I get out of those batteries. I don't know why, and they're not cheap. They are not cheap, these batteries. But 4 years is pretty garbage, if you ask me. That is unacceptable. And I figured, let me check the dealer. I wonder how much the battery is, because I'm finding over $200 for a battery on this truck. Maybe a little bit cheaper at Amazon and Costco and Walmart, but nonetheless, it's a lot of money by the time you add tax on top of that. So I look online, in this case, autoparts.toyota.com, battery, you choose the dealer, and it was like $122 with an 84-month warranty. Wow, that is unbelievable. And this is the thing about batteries from the manufacturer. My wife's Subaru, I replaced that battery. It had the factory battery for 8 years. In fact, when I replaced it, the battery was still working, but we were just started to get into the winter season, and I figured, let me replace it now, because I don't want a phone call that my battery is dead and I can't start my car. Let me replace it now. So it was still cranking, just starting to lose that momentum. 8 years. Secondly, chances are you're familiar with the Car Wizard, and he uploaded a video roughly a month ago. I don't remember the title. I'll find out and list it below if you want to check it out. But ultimately, it was his daughter's boyfriend's Honda Pilot, I believe. And in that video, he pulls the 9-year-old battery, the original battery from the vehicle, 9 years old, and he was astonished. He couldn't believe it. So that's the key. If you can find, in my experience, what I've seen also with my father's car and friends' vehicles, it seems that the battery from the dealer, or in this case the manufacturer, tends to last longer than all of these other aftermarket batteries. That's the first example. Second, on these FJ Cruisers, over time, it's known that the weather stripping around the windows, they just deteriorate, they crack and fall apart. The rubber just doesn't last over time. This is now 17 years old, and I started looking for weather stripping. Very, very easy to replace, but nonetheless, I do need it. And I started finding aftermarket, on Amazon, 3-4 stars. I'm not going to waste my time with that. And then again, I checked Toyota's website, and I was able to get the weather stripping on both sides for the rear windows for less than $40. Now, what's interesting about that, I was also looking on eBay, and on eBay they had a few dealers selling the same part for more money. Now, with eBay, don't forget, they have to pay for shipping. A lot of times they do free shipping. Well, who's paying for that, right? They just increase the cost of the part. Free shipping, and also they have to pay fees. Now, eBay, I've sold over time things on eBay. Typically, it's 12-14% that you're paying out of pocket, because they have their transaction fees, and then you have the credit card processing fees. So these things start to eat into profit. In this case, I bought the part online, picked it up at the dealer, less than 40 bucks, factory, perfectly fitted weather stripping. Third example, When I first got this truck, I had to replace the timing chains, as many of you watching this know. And once I was able to replace the timing chains, I finally was able to drive this truck and enjoy it. And the first thing I noticed was, the suspension seems a little soft. It's a little bouncy. It only has 104,000 miles, but it is 17 years old. I'm assuming they're original Struts. I don't know. So let me look at Struts. Now, what I found out later on, really, it's the tires. These tires are 7 years old, and the side, although the tread is excellent, the sidewall is too soft. It's just too soft. And that's why it's a little bouncy. But before I discovered that, I started looking at Struts, and to me, I immediately thought KYB. I've used them before, very good Struts. And then I figured, well, let me just compare it to Toyota. And the Struts from Toyota were cheaper. Not by a lot, but they were cheaper for the factory Strut. I'm stock. I just like stock because they spend so much time and money engineering these parts for the fit, the function, longevity. I'm all about stock. So for me, I'm perfectly happy. Now, you can't argue with Struts. Why not Monroe Quick Struts? They were a little bit cheaper than the Toyota Struts. But if I'm looking at a part and the factory part is maybe just a little bit more, I have no problem paying a little bit more for the factory part. That's just the way I feel. And you could even argue further that some parts, like on Rock Auto, for example, you can find these like no-name brands for really cheap. I don't play with fire, man. That's just, if you're taking the time out to do the work, you only want to do it once. You don't want to do it again a month later because the part is garbage. So that's my third example. Fourth, on my Acura TL, a couple years ago, I had to replace the engine mount. And I think Dorman was the aftermarket manufacturer that made a part for the Acura. And I also looked at the local Acura dealership, and it was cheaper at the Acura dealership, and I purchased a factory Honda engine mount. So the whole point here, if you're someone like me, always doing your own work, and you immediately think, I'm not checking the dealer, check it out, because you may be surprised. You may be surprised. Now, this is the key. Like I said earlier, you just don't want to run to the dealer and be like, hey man, this is what I need. Many dealers have a markup on the parts. Okay, it's almost like buying a car. They have the markup on the parts as well. Not every dealer, but a lot of them do. So this is the key. So if you ever need parts, you want to go to the manufacturer's parts website. So in this case, on the Toyota, it's autoparts.toyota.com. And once you arrive there, you type in whatever you need, you look it up, and before you add it to the cart, you're choosing the local dealership. And once you choose the local dealership, you see the price, and if it's a good price, you're done and over with. Now, this is the key. If, let's say you just go to this website, you say, okay, I need weather stripping, you write down the part number. But then you just go to the dealership and say, here are the part numbers that I need. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, in fact, here's a footnote from Toyota's Auto Parts website, specifically showing you, or explicitly telling you, the dealer sets the price. So Toyota has the MSRP. This is what we charge for the part. The dealer can say, hey, I'm going to charge you another 15%. It's up to the dealer. So imagine if you're having your work done, if you're having service work done at the dealership on your vehicle. Not only are you paying a lot of money in labor, but then you're paying for their cost on the parts, which can be more than what Toyota recommends. So again, it's their own franchise. They can do whatever they want, but keep that in the back of your mind. You want to buy the part online and either do, so in other words, you pay for the part online with your credit card, and then you go to the dealer for store pickup, or if you maybe at least, in Toyota's case, 75 bucks, I think it's 75, they'll ship it to you for free. But nonetheless, you get the savings. You're not paying the dealer markup. So just really, it was just fascinating to me, because I would never, ever think that dealer parts would be cheaper. And it doesn't happen with every part. For example, going back to the timing chains, I purchased Toyota parts, the guides, the tensioners, everything factory Toyota, 3 times more than aftermarket. 3. But I was not going to put some no-name brand or a brand that makes their stuff in Taiwan. I'm not, this is a 10-hour job. I'm not cutting corners. So some things you're gonna pay more, but for other things, it doesn't hurt checking. Take 5 minutes out, check it. If you can save some money, that's what this is all about, man. Just doing your own work, save some cash. You can use that money for other things, right? Vacation, dining out, whatever, you know, your wife wants, whatever the case may be. So, as always, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.